All right, so I'm going to walk you through this solo a little bit and talk a little bit about the song Ramble on a Rose. This version is from 1976, which was one of the most melodically interesting years, the Grateful Dead. Not a lot of super out there space exploration, but some of my favorite playing from Garcia and the drummers as well were absolutely killing it. It's kind of overlooked with 77 looming in the distance, but I think 77 was maybe more accessible, but not really better than 76. A lot more interesting. There was a lot of spiraling kind of musical structures in Peggy O and a couple of other songs that I think Garcia turned out some of his absolute best work. And we'll probably eventually take a look at some of those solos in greater depth. And so this song, one of the things that makes it such a wonderful primer on the Grateful Dead's music, if you're just learning the style, is the constant use of chromaticism, which is typical, but this song kind of stands out with its ragtimey shuffle feel, and the solo is basically all about just connecting chord tones, which they also do in the structure of the song with the chromatic walk-ups between chords. We start on a D, like that. Things like that are occur quite a bit, and then the walk down from the G to the E in the chorus. Ramble on Rose. Right before the solo, also when we walk up to the E. Right, so there we have example 1. We're sliding from the 5th of D, which is an A note at the 12th fret, up to the root, which is D, and then walking up to the 3rd of D, and then playing the root on the B string. So the fingering is really important throughout the solo. 14, 15, 16 on the D string, and then D note on the B. And then we have the 16th fret on the G string to set up the bend to the root of E for the next chord. Timing's not exact there, but I do recommend using most of the time these bends on the 15th fret, your first finger for those, and you'll see why as we progress through the solo. So after this bend, dump that on an open B, right? And then we're going to walk up to the F sharp on the B string chromatically for the F sharp, and then a pre-bend up a full step, release, shifting positions for this 14, 16, so G, 14, 16, 15th fret on the B string, full step bend and release, and bend and release on the G string. Here's where it starts to get really interesting with all this chromaticism and diatonic 6 slides and stuff. This is all very classic Garcia. And so after we drop down to the 14th fret, we're going to hit it again and then walk up with all 4 notes on the B from the 14th to the 17th, and then drop back down to the 14th on the B string, and then back to the 14th on the G string. So all with the first finger, slide there, 14, 13, 12, 12, 13, 14, right? And then with the third finger sliding from the 14th fret of the D string. So we have 2 notes from the D chord, the 3rd F sharp and D, and then (17, 18, 19), and then another 6th, right? another sixth, and then don't play the F sharp, but do play the D. And Garcia once said, the 15th fret on the D string, Garcia once said that what you don't play is just as important as what you do play. And so, instead of going, right, you skip that last note, and it just makes a little bit more interesting to the ear, not quite as predictable. If you pay attention and really, follow a lot of Garcia solos, you'll notice that he psychs the ear out a lot, and you'll actually hear notes that he doesn't actually play because of that little maneuver where he'll just rest instead of playing the note that your ear expects to hear. That whole line again is... All right, and then so after we slide up to the 18th fret here, we got quarter step bends, which is a little bit less than a half of a half, right? It can be almost difficult to hear, but it does add a little bit of tension. A true blue note is actually a quarter step sharp. So flat 5 or flat 3 bent a quarter step out, and so that's what's happening there. And here's another one of those first finger bends. So we're going to go 18 on the G string, 17, and then a half step, and then a full step, but then bend down a half step, and then back up, and then drop it all the way down. Right? So when you release the bend, only release it a half step. And then we have this, and that's one of those spots where we have the first finger releasing and then hammer on from the 14th to the 16th on the G, and then grab that note on the 15th fret of the B string again. And that wraps it up. So the end of the solo again is at the the fourth beat of the last measure of example 3 or 4 or whatever it is, this last one, we're gonna, right, 14, 16, 15, and then slide up to the 19th fret, 17th, 15, release from the 16th of the G to the 14th. So I hope you guys enjoyed that lesson and that solo. Feel free to contact me for private lessons. Join the Patreon, where I'm going to put all kinds of interesting stuff. So really excited to get this channel going, and thank you guys so much for watching.